Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Tiny Blue Games. My name is, of course, Seesaw or Chris, and today we're talking about World of Warcraft Classic in 2019. Hopefully you guys are having a great week. I am doing a lot better this week. I am, I'd say about 90% recovered from my sickness. It's gone on for quite a while, and I often find that I don't get sick very often, but when I do, it tends to last for quite a while. But I'm excited because my throat isn't sore today, so I should be able to do a little bit better at talking with you guys. But yeah, let's talk about our journey to level 60. In terms of actual levels, we haven't changed too much in WoW Classic this week. We've kind of gotten to level 10 and done a bit of progress on actually gearing ourselves up, which is great. And level 10 is a really big step because what you get at level 10 is you unlock the talent system. And the talent system is the old talent trees, where you had the three different trees. For mages, you have the Frost, Fire, and Arcane. And you're able to really customize your builds. This is one of the biggest things that I've missed the most in Classic. Or I guess in retail compared to Classic, is that they've really stripped away a lot of the choices you have. And in retail at the moment, you just get sort of the three different talents that you get to choose from at each level, and you don't really have that many combinations and that many choices to make. Now, granted, it's a lot easier to understand and probably build classes in retail, but it brought away a lot of the interest in actually building your class. What else is very interesting about the older version is that you'd get a talent point to spend every level. And that itself makes each level feel like you're growing incrementally versus in retail where you have these specific moments like maybe 30 and 45 and stuff like that where you get a talent point. You actually have a talent point to look forward to each level, and you get to feel yourself get that little bit more powerful each time. So the talent that I went with initially is the elemental precision, and it's, from what I've read everywhere, it's best to build Frost to level, and I believe a lot of builds have Frost for a large part of it, and then do dive into Arcane at the end. And the biggest reason Frost is so important is that you're able to kite mobs, and I've already noticed this without going into the talents at all. My ability to slow creatures and to freeze them now with my Frost spells has dramatically increased my ability to survive, specifically in larger groups. And when I say larger groups, I mean like 2 monsters. 3 monsters still is kind of like a death wish in Classic at the moment for myself. But what can happen as you get more progressed is you get Blizzard, and you get the ability to slow down larger groups and then sort of kite them around while you kill them, even to the point where in private servers and possibly eventually in Classic we had people that were AoE grinding mobs, which is such an interesting idea because when it comes to leveling in most of World of Warcraft, all you generally think about is just completing quests, doing instances, doing battlegrounds, but never actually grinding mobs. And to a lot of people that sounds maybe kind of boring, but I'm someone who loves grinding mobs. I really do. I talk about Maple Story so frequently. You get the grind, you get the kill. It's something I'm interested to try in WoW because it's just something that I've not experienced really, and I'm excited to see if that's something I'm able to do. I realize that the biggest limitation for people doing it at this stage has been that there's so many people in the leveling zones, and obviously if you're fighting people for the mobs, you're not going to have a big group to kill. So I don't know if I'll ever get to that point. My one benefit of being a very slow leveler is that I might eventually have some less populated zones, because you kind of either want to be someone who's really slow compared to the rest of the people or someone who's really fast, and I think I'm probably on the slow side. So we'll see if it happens, but I have no promises. Now, the other thing that happens at level 10, and this has already happened throughout... Actually, did I have a class quest already? I'm not sure. On my Warlock, I had one right at level 3, where I was able to get my Imp and I believe this might actually be my first one on my Mage, but at level 10 you get a class quest. And class quests are something that I completely forgot were a part of the game. They've kind of been missing from retail, though you could say that in Legion there was a lot to do with class quests when it came to their actual order halls and that kind of stuff. But in terms of actual just like standalone quests for your class, they haven't been something that I've actively done, or they might have even been removed from the game for quite a while. So I was very interested to go check it out, because I did know that they unlock quite good features. For instance, you need to do the Warlock quest to get your imp, right? That's a pretty important thing to do. I was also interested in this in a very different perspective, because I've been playing Final Fantasy XIV, where we're talking about job quests a lot, right? Like, that was such a big turning point for me in Final Fantasy XIV, where I was like, wow, there's like these quests every 5 levels to progress your character and unlock skills. Well, it turns out that WoW kind of had a similar system. And I feel like this is one of the points where people are like, yeah, you know, Final Fantasy XIV does carry on a lot of the best parts of Classic. So I was very happy to see this. I'd say that for instance, the quest you're watching right now, all I have to do is go find a mage trainer in Ironforge. I talk to them, and then I go travel quite a distance to collect a item from a hut, and then I travel back. So it's not an exciting quest by any means. It's certainly not as detailed and story-driven as the Final Fantasy XIV quests for jobs have been in the past, but I obviously this is just one quest as well, so I don't know where this is going. What this does offer me is a staff. So I didn't actually even get a skill necessarily, but I did get my very first green staff. And the idea of getting a green item sounds really lame, specifically if you're someone who plays retail and hasn't tried Classic yet. The idea of getting a green staff on a level 10 mage is actually super exciting. Finding gray stuff is exciting still at level 10. So finding something that's green and a staff that gives you an intellect and a spirit for your character is truly outstanding. And I was very excited to hand this in and get that staff to get that increase in power. And it's a sense of accomplishment just by getting an item that, you know, in other games you'd have an heirloom already, right? You'd have something that you would never be able to replace. And I think that's been one of the biggest things, and I keep talking about this in the first few episodes of this series, is that the constant ability to get gear that's better than the gear you have, and to have gear that's not best in slot just because it gives experience gains, it's probably the most exciting part of this. It's just the constant excitement that there's something new you could get, something you could get from killing each creature, something you could get from each generic quest, and specifically, obviously, class quests. But I've super enjoyed this. I really, really did. I loved hitting level 10, and I look forward to pushing into the next few levels in the coming weeks. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this update video. And I've realized that this is kind of what my videos have become for WoW Classic and Final Fantasy XIV, is more than anything they've become updates on my my travels through the game world. And I think that's because a lot of people have sort of said, hey, this is kind of like a diary entry. And I do like that, because it is me just sharing, you know, what happened. And some weeks I'm going to have, you know, a bunch more that I've done. I'm going to have played a bunch more. I'm going to have covered a lot more levels. Some weeks I'm not. Some weeks I'm going to have played one game a lot more than the other. So I do really enjoy that style of video, and hopefully you guys do too. I do hope to do more actual idea videos from time to time, where, you know, I just focus on a topic or something like that. I just haven't had the time to prepare a script for those kind of videos, because those ones do require a bit more of an elaborate thought process. Whereas this one, I'm like, what happened to me this week, right? So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I always appreciate you guys watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.